Switching topics again. Anthony Joshua, give us an update. When do you think he returns?
He's going to fight end of March or first week of April.
Okay.
At the moment, he's speaking to a number of trainers and just getting his training team where he wants it to be to start camp at the beginning of January.
He's still keeping Robert, right? Or no?
I'm not involved in that process, but Robert done a great job. You know, he hasn't fallen out with him. So, but really, people keep saying to me, who's he going to fight? Yeah. And ultimately, that's a decision made between Anthony, 258, his management company, and the trainer. So until that trainer is locked in, it's quite difficult to secure because, you know, I'll give you an example. One name that's come up is Otto Wallin, right? Good fight to return to. It's a southpaw, right? So obviously AJ's just boxed Usyk twice. But the trainer may say, certain trainers would say, I don't want a southpaw opponent. I want an orthodox opponent, blah, blah, blah. Or they might say, we're happy to do it. So it's difficult to lock in that opponent till we've got the training team sorted. At the same time, what we can lock in is the date and the venue. And look, if it was up to Anthony, he'd go straight into the Wilder fight or the Whyte fight. But it's really down to his team, the training team, to select that next opponent.
So, like, what kind of influence do you have then as, like, a promoter? You can't go and be like, nah, I think you should do this, this, and this.
I mean,
is that usually how it goes?
Yeah, I mean, I speak to Anthony on a personal level, on a career level. We will always talk about trainers, opponents. One thing I don't do is stick my nose in and start telling him how to throw a left hook, you know. But what I will do is, where I come into it is I will go out, negotiate with 3 or 4 opponents, and then I will present them to Anthony's management team and the trainer and say, these are the guys that are available for your date. Tell me which one you want, basically. I mean, I can tell them the money for all of those, which might have an effect, but it's not really about the money for him. At this stage in his career, he wants to get it right. He wants to learn. He wants to improve. And, yeah, they'll pick the relevant opponent.
The Deontay Wilder fight, like, realistically, like, do you see it happening at the end of the year? Or even that, like, do you see it happening given how hard it is to make fights?
Yeah, I do see it happening because, you know, I've had some positive conversations with Shelley Finkel. They want the fight. AJ wants the fight. It's massive. It's a huge money fight. And therefore, like, you've only got to look at the resume of Anthony to realise, like, he doesn't really duck fights. So he wants to fight Wilder. The key is it next or is it the one after? 2023 is a must. But, you know, when he accepted the Tyson Fury fight, I have to be honest, again, this goes back to me not really having any influence in terms of his choice. I thought, look, you've just come off the Usyk defeat, you've got a little bit of a niggle. Like, mentally, obviously, we know it was a tough period, but he'd made his mind up. So he can overrule things, you know, but I think bringing in the new trainer, I think the trainer will say, this is the style we like, and etc., etc.
With the Wilder fight, is it going to be like an issue that we saw with like Ryan and Tank, like where ultimately it's like the networks?
We haven't got that far, you know. I mean, you've seen now, obviously Showtime working with the Zone, hopefully on that fight to if that happens, and I think we could do that. Like that's when the bigger the fight is, the more easier it is to do those kind of deals because there's money for everybody. Everybody wants to make it happen, and you know, although I do feel that's a massive fight, and you know, I think I'm very confident it gets made.
The backlash from the Whyte fight, people saying that he didn't win, asking him about a rematch. What do you make of all that?
It was a very close fight. You know, I got in the ring after. I said to Dilian, I think it's close. I had Dilian winning 115, 113. I thought he won 10, 11, 12. And I thought he won 4 rounds before that, from 1 to 9. So, but I can see a draw. And therefore, if I score a fight 115, 113, you have to accept that it could go 115, 113 the other way. That's not what I thought, but I can see that. So I feel like a lot of people score fights. Like when there's an outsider, and some people don't like Dilian Whyte, and like you start scoring a fight differently. 1-0 Franklin, 2-0 Franklin, 3-0 Franklin. It's like, guys, come on. Like, you can't just give him all those rounds. It's unquestionable he won 10, 11, 12, right? So what you're saying that he didn't win 3 rounds between 1 and 9. That's a draw, right? So very close fight. I thought Franklin was great. I knew he'd be great. I knew it would be a tough fight, and he'll come again. And we'd definitely be. He could fight AJ. Franklin. Yeah, if you feel like Franklin beat Dilian Whyte, right, then you can't moan about him as an opponent for Anthony Joshua. I'm not saying, we've not even talked about that fight, by the way, with it, but I'm just saying, like, he puts himself in the mix for all those big fights now in the division.
But so you guys are still leaning on, I would imagine, Dilian Whyte, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, just down to the training team. Like, I can tell you, I think the Dilian Whyte fight's a great fight. I think Otto Wallin's a great fight. Franklin would be acceptable. Deontay Wilder's a tremendous fight. But it all depends on the route that the trainer wants to take, really.
Do you think we'll ever see a third fight with Anthony and Andy Ruiz?
I think it would, it's one apiece. It's not a fight that I think people are shouting out for. AJ just boxed him, won every round. Obviously was doing well in the fight till he got caught, but Andy's a great fighter, and we'll see what happens with the Wilder fight.
I would imagine if he beats Wilder and say he gets a knockout or it's like a very dominant performance, then I guess it's more demand for that.
Deontay Wilder against Andy Ruiz is a tremendous heavyweight fight.
Speaking of heavyweights, you've been in this a long time. Do you feel that we do get to see a Fury versus Usyk fight, in your opinion?
I think so. Yeah. I think so. Tyson Fury's made it clear. He said in his interview there is no way that I will fight for the IBF title. I'm not paying the sanction fees. I will not be fighting for that belt. So it doesn't look like it will be undisputed. And obviously we have Filip Hrgovic, the IBF mandatory, so we'll be pushing that. But we'll see. But I think if he beats Chisora this weekend, I think, you'll see that fight next.
On a final topic, Eddie, can we get an update on what's going on with Conor Benn? What happened with all that?
So you heard from Maurizio yesterday. The WBC and the legal team are in a hearing, but the process at the moment to really decide his outcome. I can't say too much, but knowing the information that I've seen, I'd be surprised if he gets a ban. Yeah, with what you'll hear. But at the same time, if he does, I think it'll be a small one. And I think the career will start again at some point. Obviously, that's at the end of a ban or that's straight away. But again, I can't say too much because of the hearing that's unfolding. But there's a lot of information coming out on it that doesn't make sense. And we'll see what the WBC decides. It's not up to us. We have no say, regardless of what people seem to think. They'll make their own independent ruling.
When will there be a final ruling?
I think Maurizio said in an interview yesterday by the end of the month, as in December. So, we want it to hurry up. Like, if he's going to receive a ban, we want that ban to be served so he can return to boxing.
Fans that aren't privy to a lot of this would be wondering, like, well, what does the WBC have to do with this? Like, I thought it was a BBOC type thing.
It's a VADA, WBC program.
The clean boxing program.
It's nothing to do with the British Boxing Board of Control because, he doesn't have a licence with the British Boxing Board of Control. It's a WBC testing program. VADA is who the WBC acknowledge, and they will make the ruling on Conor Benn's future.
Yeah, because I think that part is what fans made fans kind of like, wait a second, he voluntarily gave up his license. It's like, oh, he's admitting guilt.
He didn't give up his license. He chose not to renew it. His license had expired. They wanted to ban Conor Benn. Sorry, they wanted to fine Conor Benn for something not related to a doping ban, which was the most ridiculous thing. They wanted to fine him, I can't remember what it was, $100,000. And his legal team looked at it and said, that's ridiculous. How is he going to get a fair hearing when you want to fine him even for that? Also, you have nothing in your rules that involves VADA. So therefore, this is a WBC incident, and they will go through the hearing for that. And then after that, once it comes out, the result, the board have the right to, or he has the right to apply for his license or fight under another jurisdiction.
You're confident, though, he's going to be able to go back to normal and...
Oh, he will 100% go back to normal. When is the key. If he receives a ban, obviously they have to serve that ban, but I think it would be very difficult for them to ban him given the information that will come out.
So you're making it seem like he's innocent.
I believe so. But again, I do. And I know the young man, and I know how much he pushed for VADA testing, and none of it makes sense. But let the lawyers and let the governing bodies make their decisions.
Okay, Eddie, hey, good chatting with you.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.